Shouldn't you be in Gaza, Mr. Blair? You came third in a two-horse race. What went wrong? Mr. Clegg, isn't it about time you did a proper sit-down interview?
Disgraceful! You're disgraceful!
What? Isn't it time you explain the situation with your friend, Mr. Werrity? How come Mr. Werrity's had 14 meetings with you in the last year? Mr. Green, how are you?
Very good,
are you
Michael.
Mr. Green today or Grant Shapps?
No, I'm Grant today.
Can we ask you about these books
you
published online? I think you would have won with another more popular candidate. You are a bit of a Marmite candidate. Some people like you and a lot of people don't.
That's an original question, isn't it?
What's the answer?
Well, you give me a chance to give an answer. It's typically you again. Listen, 30,000 majority, I reduce it down to 2,000. That seems to me a very creditable result.
You came third in a two-horse race. What went wrong?
Keep going.
What's your message?
Where did you get it wrong, Maria?
Third in a two-horse race.
Why won't you
Where
speak?
did it go wrong,
The party
Maria?
let you down, do you think?
Speak now, Maria.
Why won't you say anything?
I get the impression she doesn't want to say anything. Mr. Clegg, how many women was it that complained to Joe Swinson? Mr. Alexander, why did you believe Lord Reynard and not the women who were complaining?
I think we're running behind, Michael. Thank you.
Why are you avoiding questions on this?
I've answered questions. I've made a public statement.
You have not done a television interview. Why are you running away from the questions?
I gave it.
Mr. Clegg, isn't it about time you did a proper sit-down interview about the Reynard affair?
Excuse me, sir. Thank you.
They don't seem to want to talk to you.
I think it's because of you lot, actually. We're going to a women's centre now, Michael, which thankfully I don't think you'll be able to come in.
Now, Mr. Bloom, what do you make of the front cover of this, the conference brochure with no black faces on it?
After the interview.
What a racist comment is that? How dare you? That's an appalling thing to say. You're picking people out for the colour of their skin. You disgust me. Get out of my way. What an appalling man.
What's appalling about making that
Racist.
point?
You, sir, are a racist.
Why am I racist for saying there aren't any
take
black
this
people?
and you've checked out the colour of people's faces. Disgraceful. You're disgraceful.
What? Shouldn't you be in Gaza, Mr. Blair? Shouldn't you be in Gaza? What are you doing in London rather than in Gaza, Mr. Blair? Shouldn't you be in Gaza rather than celebrating 20 years? Are more important things to be doing. You've done anything right since you took over, Mr. Lambert? When are you going to resign, Mr. Lambert? So no brain fade today?
Absolutely not.
And have you memorised your speech? Mr. Watkinson?
Yeah.
Mr. Watkinson from the Conservative Party?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, why are you walking out then? What are you doing at this meeting? You come here to gather intelligence. You sent here by Conservative headquarters. You do seem to be leaving this meeting rather rapidly. Can you just explain to us, are you not a Corbyn supporter? Are you from the Conservative Party?
Them
Come here to find out what Mr. Corbyn's saying. You come here this evening to find out what Mr. Corbyn's saying. Well, why don't you carry on in the meeting? You're not perfectly allowed to stand in the meeting. So who was it who sent you? The party chairman? David Cameron? What do you normally do for the party? Are you a member of staff? Are you still a member of the Conservative Party? So where are you going now? You going home? You seem a little embarrassed by all of this, Mr. Watkinson. Would that be a fair summation? That you're all a bit embarrassed about this? I mean, couldn't you find out what Mr. Corbyn's saying from television and radio? I don't think he makes any secret of his views. So you're going back to London now? And this is the first Vote Leave rally of the campaign, held here in the old Granada Studios in Manchester. It's not quite the crowd one might have expected for a speaker given the popularity of Boris Johnson. Perhaps, 300 people in the audience? And this is what he said a few minutes ago.
It's called democracy, and it's now or never. Because if we fail to make the change now, then we will continue to be like passengers locked in the back of a minicab with a wonky sat-nav, driven by a driver who doesn't have perfect command of English and going in a direction we frankly don't want to go.
Well, as you heard there, the typical Boris Johnson rhetoric. I was talking earlier to people in the crowd, and they're mostly Conservatives, a sprinkling of UKIP people, one or two Labour people, one or two uncommitted, but very much a committed crowd in terms of they're going to vote to leave the European Union. But one of the interesting little incidents we caught, excuse me, I'm live on television.
Keep quiet.
All right.
The guy's trying to talk.
Okay.
You're interrupting.
I'm just trying to explain what's going on here.
Well,
right.
yeah, so is he.
Okay. The earlier the excuse me. I was